Hello.
Welcome to Larry's Library!
All right, so I've been reading fairy tales. So today I'll be reading the story of the three little pigs. Yesterday I read the story of Goldilocks and the three bears. And the children reminded me, we realized later, that I should have also added as a bonus telling the parable of bad timing. So in homage to the three bears, Goldilocks and the three bears, I will just tell my very, very short story, a parable of bad timing. So the three bears had made their breakfast of porridge, and it was just too hot, so they decided they'd take a walk. And so they decided to take a walk to let their porridge cool off. And they opened the front door to go for a walk, and there was this little blonde girl coming up the sidewalk, so they ate her instead. Yeah, a parable of bad timing. Yeah. Yes, the Grimm's fairy tales are very, very dark. No, I made that one up. Thank you. All right, so when you watch, please like this on here so I know who's watched it, because I can't see who all's watched these. I just see the number of people who viewed it, and I don't know who it was. So if you watch it, just click a like or something. I'd appreciate it. Or if you don't like it, click the sad or the mad button. So the three little pigs. There was an old sow with three little pigs, and as she had not enough to keep them, she sent them out into the world to seek their fortune. The first that went off met a man with a bundle of straw and said to him, "Please, man, give me that straw to build me a house." Which the man did, and the little pig built a house with it. Presently along came a wolf, who knocked at the door and said, little pig, let me come in." To which the pig answered, "No, no, by the hair of my chinny chin chin." And the wolf answered to that, "Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house in." So he huffed, and he puffed, and he blew the house in, and he ate up the little pig. Yes, this version's dark. He eats the pigs. The second little pig met a man with a bundle of twigs and said, "Please, man, give me those twigs to build a house." Which the man did, and the pig built his house. Then along came the wolf and said, little pig, let me come in." "No, no, not by the hair of my chinny chin chin." "Then I'll puff, and I'll huff, and I'll blow your house in." So he huffed, and he puffed, and he puffed, and he huffed, and at last he blew the house down, and he ate up the little pig. The third little pig met a man with a load of bricks, and said, "Please, man, give me those bricks to build a house with." The man gave him the bricks, and he built his house with them. So the wolf came as he did to the other little pigs and said, little pig, let me come in." "No, no, by the hair on my chinny chin chin." "Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house in." Well, he huffed, and he puffed, and he huffed, and he puffed, and he puffed, but he blew, and blew, but he could not get the house down. When he found that he could not, with all his huffing and puffing and huffing, blow it down, he said, little pig, I know where there is a nice patch of turnips." "Where?" said the little pig. "In Mr. Smith's home field, and if you will be ready tomorrow morning, I will call for you, and we will go together and get some for dinner." "Very well," said the little pig. "I will be ready. What time do you mean to go?" "Oh, at 6 o'clock." Well, the little pig woke up at 5 and got the turnips before the wolf came, which he did about 6, and said, little pig, are you ready?" The little pig said, "Ready, I have been and come back again, and got a nice pot full for dinner." The wolf felt very angry at this, but thought that he would catch the little pig somehow or other, so he said, little pig, I know where there is a nice apple tree." "Oh, where?" said the pig. "Down in the big park," replied the wolf. "And if you will not deceive me, I will come for you at 5 o'clock tomorrow morning, and we will get some apples." Well, the little pig busted out the next morning at 4 o'clock and went off for the apples, hoping to get back before the wolf came. but he had farther to go and had to climb the tree, so that just as he was climbing down from it, he saw the wolf coming, which, as you may suppose, frightened him very much. When the wolf came up, he said, "What, little pig, are you here before me? Are they nice apples?" "Yes, very," said the little pig. "I will throw you down one." And he threw it so far that while the wolf had gone to pick it up, the little pig jumped down and ran all the way home. The next day, the wolf came again and said to the little pig, "Little pig, there is a fair in the town this afternoon. Will you go?" "Oh, yes," said the pig, "I will go. What time shall you be ready?" "At 3," said the wolf. The little pig went off before the time as usual and arrived at the fair. He bought a butter churn which he was going home with when he saw the wolf coming. Then he could not tell what to do. He got into the churn to hide, and by so doing turned it around, and it rolled down the hill with the pig in it, which frightened the wolf so that he ran home without going to the fair. He went to the little pig's house and told him how frightened he had been by a great round thing which came down the hill past him. Then the little pig said, "I frightened you, did I? I had been to the fair and bought myself a butter churn, and when I saw you, I got into it and rolled down the hill." Then the wolf was very angry indeed, and declared that he would eat up the little pig, and he would come down the chimney after him. When the little pig saw what he was about, he hung up a pot full of water and made a blazing fire, and just as the wolf was coming down, took off the cover of the pot, and in fell the wolf. So the little pig put on the cover again in an instant, boiled the wolf up, and ate him for supper, and lived happily ever afterwards. So, yes, it wasn't Grimm's, but it was grim. You grew up hearing all the stories of the three little pigs.
I'm 6 years old.
You are interrupting me. You grew up hearing all the stories of three little pigs, where the first pig goes to the second pig's house, and the second pig go to the third pig's house, and they all live, and they scare the wolf off. No, those are newer versions. The older version, the first two pigs got eaten, and then finally the wolf got eaten. Well, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed it. This has been Larry's Library. Keep your hands washed. Stay socially distant.
Sing Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star.
And
don't forget I'm 6.
And tomorrow, I will start with the last of the stories that are referenced in my book, A Fairy Tales, and I'll be reading Alice in Wonderland. So it's the whole book, so I'll read a couple of chapters a day, probably get about 20 to 25 minutes of reading in each day until we finish this book. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Kevin. Bye, Uncle John.
This has been Larry's Library.
Bye, Charlie. Charlie, bye, Uncle John.
Bye.
Bye.